So we're going to create Project Jaguar in Microsoft Project. All of the files will follow the same template. All we have to do is do everything in sequence. I'm going to open Microsoft Project and open a blank project, and the first thing we should do is set all the tasks to be automatically scheduled. We should always do that in Microsoft Project. I'm immediately going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this project Jaguar. So I should save my work every 5 minutes. The first step is to get the project objectives clear. We click on the File menu, come across to Project Information and Advanced Properties. Now I will be looking to see that your project objectives to build a new warehouse and the time objective 40 weeks and the cost objective £16,049. I will be checking to see that those are in File Properties. Click OK. We can go back to the project file. The next thing we're going to do is enter the tasks names. So start planning, put caps lock on, A, return, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, caps lock off, evaluation, and finish. So they're all of my tasks into the project. Everything's defaulted to today's date. Now there's something I need to check. Let's go back to File and set the start date of the project to when it should be, the 17th of April next year. If the 17th of April is a weekend, which it is, let's set this to be the next working day, the 18th of April. If I click on the first task and ask it to view the entire project, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, we can now see that this project is starting on the 18th of April next year. I'm now going to do the area of the resources. So I'm going to change my view to the resource sheet. So on the View tab, Resource Sheet, and I'm going to type in my source names. Samantha Willis, Gemma Weymouth, Poppy Gunner, Samantha Hoskins, Robert Willis, Hermione Slough. That's got the resources in. The next thing I need to check is, do I have 1 or 100%? Remember, go to File, Options, Schedule if you need to change this. File, Options, Schedule. Assignment units are decimal. If you see them in percentage, you can change them to decimal. I'm now going to put their pay rates in. I just need to type a 5 in this box. I'm using the down arrow key to come to the next one. 15, 5, 5, 5, 25. And the last thing I want to do on the resource sheet is add the resource notes. So I'm going to double click on Gemma Weymouth and go to Notes and type in, this resource is responsible for the website. Click OK. Samantha Hoskins, double click, Notes. This resource may be unavailable in January. Now these are just random notes that are generated. You don't have to do anything about them or with them. I'm just testing your ability to enter resource notes. So this resource gets paid overtime at an extra £10 an hour. There's no need to actually do anything with that note apart from enter it in. So there are resources done. Let's go back to the Gantt chart view. Now coming down to the next area where we have got to two things. We've got to enter a hyperlink on task ID 8, task F. So I'm going to click the task, right click the task and go to hyperlink, and I can simply type in www.locate.coventry.ac.uk, and that hyperlink will go in there. And then we've got a material cost of £6,700 on task E. Now to do that I need to change the cost table. I have right clicked in this area, gone to the cost table, and I'm going to put a fixed cost in here of £6,700. Now when I'm marking this, that's where I'm going to look for it first. I shall obviously be looking to see that your total project cost is correct. If it's not correct, then I should start trying to find out why not. Let's go back to the entry table. We can either go table entry, or of course we can right click here to shortcut around the tables. And I want to put on the task notes. There are 3 tasks that have notes. The first one being task D. Double click the task, go to notes, advise managers before starting this task. Double click task E. This task cannot happen at weekends. Again, these are randomly generated notes and you don't have to do anything with them apart from enter them in. And on task H, inform department when finished. And there are resource notes done. The next thing I want to do is assign the resource to the tasks. There are many ways of assigning. This is the way I suggest is we go to the resource tab, assign resources dialog box. If I put this about there, I can simply select the first task. This is Samantha Willis and Poppy Gunner. Assign Poppy Gunner, assign. Now, it will be important to get these in the right order, otherwise when you're entering the work, you will have a problem. A is Gemma Weymouth, assign. Tasks B and C are Samantha Hoskins. B and C together, Samantha Hoskins, assign, got them both done together. And task D and F are Samantha Willis, so D, control key, F, Samantha Willis, and task E, Hoskins, assign. Task Hoskins, assign. Task H is Robert Willis and Gemma Weymouth, Robert Willis, Weymouth. Task I, Slough, Samantha Hoskins, Hermione Slough, Samantha Hoskins. Task J is Gemini. They happen to be together, so I can select them together. And the evaluation task is done by Poppy Gunner. The tasks. Now we can double check those assignments. The next step where we enter the work. So I'm going to close that down. I'm going to click back on the first task I need to enter work on, which is the planning task. At this point I'm going to split the screen, so right click on the white Gantt chart area and show the split, because this shows me the resources and the work. The planning task has got 70 hours of work, but we'll see that it's 29 to Samantha Willis, 29, and to Poppy Gunner. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the keyboard rather than the mouse. If I press, going to be clicking OK, and then when I press enter it gets me down to task A. I'm now using the right arrow key to highlight the amount of work that Gemma Weymouth does. It's 230 hours of work. Enter, 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 right arrow, right arrow, right arrow. So Samantha Hoskins is 130 hours on task B. Enter, 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 right arrow, right arrow, right arrow. We're now on task C. Check it. Samantha Hoskins, 40 hours of work. Task D. Samantha Willis, 250 hours of work. Task E. Samantha Hoskins, 60 hours of work. Task F. Samantha Willis, 240 hours of work. Task G. Samantha Hoskins, 40 hours of work. Task H. Robert Willis has 76 and Gemma Weymouth has 74. Make sure you get those the right way around. Task I. Hermione 81, Samantha Hoskins 119. Task J. Gemma 21, Hermione 19. And the evaluation task, Poppy Gunner, 30 hours. I believe I've got that in. I'm going to double click on the divider to get rid of it. Let's scroll to the top. Now when we put the amount of work in, the computer thinks it knows what the duration is. For instance, the 40 hours of work on task G, computer thinks it's 5 days, but we have not put the durations in yet. So I've got the work in and I've got the work split. I'm now going to do the dependencies or the predecessors. Now, task ID 2 is dependent on the start, so I don't have to put anything in. And task ID 3 is dependent on the start. But ID 4 depends on task 2. And ID 5 depends on task 3. And I just have to copy 5,7 for the dependencies 10, 11, 12, 13. The dependencies on the start, then there is no dependency. That's the dependencies done, except I've got 2 days lead to put in. Now the 2 days lead is from task ID 2 to ID 4. So I need to find that arrow, and if I just hover my cursor on that arrow, it should say task link from ID 2 to ID 4. So I'm going to double click that, and lead of course is negative lag. So I'm going to put in -2 days of lag on there. Click OK, and we can see that we've now got 2 days of. I'm now going to put the durations in. But we've got to be very careful when we put the durations in that we don't destroy the amount of work, because work and duration are linked. So just before I do this, I'm just going to go to the work table. And I'm going to see how much work I've got in total. Now just to do that, I'm just going to indent all of these things underneath the start task. And it says 1,580 hours of work. Now, if I don't get that at the end of this, then I know I will have made a mistake. I'm going to go back to the entry table. I'm going to make the start duration 0 because it's a milestone. Let's make it back to automatically scheduled. yes, it's not going to let me put it a milestone. If I undo what I've done when I indented things, if I go back to the entry table and I now make it a milestone, and I now indent everything underneath it, yeah, it's done the same thing. No matter. So we need to check that we don't ruin the amount of work. So I'm going to split the screen, and we're on the first task here, and we can double check Samantha Willis, Poppy Gunner, 29 hours, 41 hours. We fix the work, and then we enter the correct duration, which is 12 days. Now, if I don't fix the work, then changing the duration will change the amount of work. Task A, 230 for Gemma Weymouth, make it fixed work, and put in the correct duration, which is 34 days. Task B, Samantha Hoskins, 130 hours of work, fix the work, make the duration 25 days. Task C, Samantha Hoskins, 40 hours of work, and make the duration 10 days. Fix the work, duration 10 days. Task D, Samantha Willis, 250 hours of work, fix the work, and make the duration 36 days. Task E, Samantha Hoskins, 60 hours of work, fix the work, and make it 11 days. Fix the work, make it 11 days. Task F, Samantha Willis, 240 hours of work, so I'm double checking these as I go along. Fix the work, make the duration 35 days. Task G, Samantha Hoskins, 40 hours of work, fix the work, make the duration 7 days. Task H, 150 hours, that's 76 for Robert Willis, 74 for Gemma Weymouth. Let's fix the work, the duration should be 25 days. Task I, 200 hours, that's 81 for Miney, 119 for Samantha Hoskins. Fix the work, make it 27 days. Task J, Gemma Weymouth and Hermione, 21 hours, 19 hours. Fix the work, make the duration 10 days. And finally, the evaluation task, Poppy Gunner, 130 hours of work. Fix the work and make the duration 17 days. So the question is, have we ruined the amount of work? Let's scroll back to the top. Let's right click, go to the work table. We've still got 1580 hours of work. So adding the duration, we've fixed the work correctly and we haven't damaged our file. One final thing we need to do, we need to put in the work profiles. The work profiles. We've got a bell profile on task A and we've got a late peak on task D. Now these profiles are relating to the assignments. They don't relate to the resource and they don't relate to the task. They relate to how the resource works on the assignment. And the view we need to see this is, click on the View tab, is the resource usage view is one of the views that will help us here, because we're looking to see how Gemma worked on task A. So if we double click that, we get the assignment information, and Gemma works on task A in a bell shaped profile. Now what we're doing here is we're altering the spread of work through the duration. And what's going to happen is we'll actually undo the work we've done on the duration, which we need to correct in a minute. And again, we need to look at a late peak for Samantha Willis on task D. There's Samantha Willis on task D. Double click it. The work is going to be a late peak. So we're going to spread the work throughout the duration. It's going to maintain the right amount of work, but unfortunately this will undo the duration. Let's have a look at that. Let's go back to the Gantt chart view, and we can see that task A should have a duration of 34, and we need to put that right. Just going to type it in, 34 days. And task D, which did have a duration of 36, has now changed as well, so 36. Let's have a look at this file, see what we can find out. I'm going to move my divider over. I'm going to view the entire project. We need to make this finish task 0 duration, so it's a milestone. And I have a problem with 16th one. It's not making it clear that it's actually in 2017. So I'm going to right click and go layout and choose a date format that shows me the year, and then I can really see when this project is finishing, which is 16th of January 2017. I need to go to Format tab because I want to see critical tasks and I want to see the Slack. Now the trouble with the default view on Slack is it's not very easy to see, so I'm going to right click, choose bar styles, I'm going to scroll down this list till I find the Slack, and I'm going to make it a brighter color, and I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. Absolutely clear. Remember, float and slack are the same thing. We need to see which tasks have got float and slack. So now some comments about this project. We said that it had a time objective of 40 weeks. Now 40 weeks would be 200 working days, and we can see we're finishing in 196 days, which is only just in time. We see that the top of the instructions say the project is time critical. Is this going to be a problem? It's something that we need to consider and discuss. I'm now going to change to the cost table. We can see the cost, as we've budgeted this project, is now £19,850, whereas the budget that we allowed ourselves was £16,000. Well, this is a time critical project. Maybe a £3,000, well, nearly £4,000 overspend is going to be allowable, but certainly there are some issues with the costs. Now I'm going to the resource sheet view, and we can see that 3 of my resources are overworked. So we just need to establish how much that is and when. Let's go back to the Gantt chart view. I'm going to split the screen. And then down the bottom here, I'm going to right click in that area to get the resource graph. And let's have a look at, let's click on the planning task. There's Poppy Gunner, there's Samantha Willis. We have a big problem with Samantha Willis. She's very overworked during this period. Let's have a look at Gemma Weymouth. Gemma Weymouth 1.6, 1.7. See, if the overallocation is just 1.1, then it can be remedied by working overtime perhaps. So there are some serious overallocations on this, but here's another way we can look at this. Let's have a look at the resource usage. And we can see that although Samantha Willis is overworked, Gemma Weymouth is overworked, and Samantha Hoggins is overworked, they're showing in red. Robert Willis doesn't seem to have a lot of work on this project, and neither does Hermione Slough. So maybe one of the solutions, if these people have got the same skills, is to share the work out a little more evenly between them. So one of the final things I can do before I save this file, I'm going to go back to the entry table. I'm going to right click and insert work column, and I'm going to right click, insert column, and insert the cost column. And now I can see in that one view everything. If I just do a zoom entire project, scroll it left a bit, I can see everything I need to when I open the project plan. The cost, the work, the duration, I can see the full Gantt chart. So that's when I want to save the file, and that file should be ready for submission.